John, when it comes to other product offerings, what are the opportunities you're exploring in India? Because you're not just in pure play private equity, you're also in credit in stressed asset situations.
We had this business in the US and Europe where we had actually been a really active analyzer of credit and businesses in that circumstance, and we deployed a lot of capital for the last 20 years. And so in the last 3 years, we started to build our team. We built our team initially on the backs of buying JP Morgan's non-performing loan book. We bought a piece of GE's non-performing loan book, Standard Charter's non-performing loan book. We built up this capability, utilizing our resource base, utilizing our geographic presence to really drive a married strategy with our private equity strategy, which is to look at credit distress and special opportunities. And we launched that fund. It's $1 billion fund, but it also participates in a global fund on top of that, so we have much more buying power. Here in India, obviously a terrific market for this opportunity. We've partnered with the Piramal Group, which really allows us to have a local presence and local set of relationships with a very well-known and terrific partner that we've known for decades. In the case of Amit, he's been associated with the firm for our entire history in Asia, and really look at utilizing our private equity resources where we need to, utilizing our credit capabilities globally to go after, obviously, the restructurings that are going on here in India. And it's a terrific opportunity.
And what about venture capital?
You know, venture, look, we do have a venture capital business. We've been in venture capital since we started 33 years ago. It's actually that was our first business. At the same time, when we look at the opportunities specifically where we can add differential value in India, and this is true in the rest of Asia right now, we still feel like the credit opportunities plus the private equity scale opportunities that Amit talked about are the best way that we can deploy our resources. So we do selective opportunities through our venture firm in North America, but largely that's focused on the US market.
All right. And Amit, the stressed asset opportunity in India, do you think you'll go aggressive on that front? And you also have a joint venture with Piramal on that.
Yeah, I think we're very excited about that space. I think the government has done a tremendous job of putting finally a sensible framework in place. Hopefully the framework will, get well oiled by precedent, as we work through the legal system. And I think once that precedent is set, it'll actually open the floodgates with lots of transactions to follow. So we are very excited about that space. We'll obviously focus on that via the joint venture. And the joint venture will raise a fund which will hopefully go out and do a set of transactions. We're very excited that that's going to be great, not just as an opportunity, but importantly, that space is actually transformational for the economy as a whole.
So transformational not just for the economy and the banking sector, but Amit, I hope you agree with me that it has been transformational even for corporate India and how India Inc. is seen right now. So the old guards could be weaned off through NCLT processes, and there are new age entrepreneurs who are coming up. You have been associated with so many corporates, so many promoters. You're on the board of a large conglomerate, Tata Sons as well. How do you see the entire dynamics and the plethora of India changing right now?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And I believe this is transformational to your point at many, many levels. I think, one, of course, this will, shake up the old way of doing business, which is terrific because too many people took the system for a ride for a too long period of time. So I think it'll change the way the system used to work. I think second is it'll put assets in the hands of rightful, people who will own assets properly, responsibly, and I think that's great. But I do think to the point that you made, one of the real opportunities in this is for a new breed of entrepreneurs to emerge. People who will be backed by people like us, people who can break away from existing conglomerates, multinationals, old groups, be backed by fresh capital, go bid for some of these assets. Because every company cannot be owned by the same set of owners. And I think that'll unleash a whole set of new entrepreneurship in this country, which, by the way, is how a lot of these assets are actually owned in the US, right? Because when private equity goes and buys these assets, who operates them? It's actually professionals. Those professionals often have stock option plans. So I think this will be terrific, actually, in terms of a new wave of entrepreneurship in the country.
And it will open up a lot more opportunities for private equity players as well. So John, final comments, any challenges that you as a foreign investor face in India, and how is the perception outside? Has it changed over time?
Well, I mean, there's always challenges, right? I mean, I think the need to ensure that we have opportunities that are not overpriced relative to expectations, I think is probably the hardest thing in our industry. I think there has been a lot of capital raised in every geography. And even though there's this moment in time where certain geographies are out of favor, there's still a lot of capital on the sidelines chasing those opportunities. So when the conventional wisdom, if the report tomorrow is India is great, as reported by Amit Chandra and John Connaughton, then people say, oh my God, I need to be in India, and so the prices go up. So relative value to all the things we talked about is important.
Right. I hope the aspirants for your money are really listening to this. So with that, I come to the close of this discussion. Thanks so much, John and Amit, spending time for us. And thanks for joining us on CNBC TV 18.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.